There are generally two types of people when it comes to travel. The ones who hear the words adventure and get right in line, and those who immediately make a U-turn and sprint to the nearest exit. If you haven't figured it out by now, I'm in the latter group. Which is why when Jimmy came up with the brilliant idea to book an African safari, I told him he should probably go by himself. Call me crazy, but I typically prefer to avoid close encounters with nature that could get me killed. But Jimmy is an optimist, willfully oblivious and super persistent. He vowed that if I was ever in a charging lion's line of sight, he would make sure I ran fast enough to keep up with him. That, and he told me there would be elephants, lots and lots of elephants. Which is how we found ourselves on a flight to Kenya and the glorious Masai Mara National Reserve. Right out of the gate, giraffes with necks reaching up to the treetops greeted us, and gazelles and warthogs leapt through the grassy fields as if to say, "Welcome to Africa." After dropping off our bags, we were ready to hit the road again for our first evening safari. And sure enough, the king of the jungle himself made an appearance. There's something about the way the lion walks, a slow, deliberate sachet that renders you in utter awe of its power. We're just spectators in his kingdom. Did I mention that you get a special bonus on these off-road safaris? The road experience is also known as a free African massage. After we left the king, we came across the queen and his princelings. It was a stunning sight to watch the lioness play with her mischievous cubs, almost like we were interlopers in a private family moment. And when they ran, it was pure joy. I didn't know cubs could be so naughty or clingy. The next morning, we woke up before dawn to catch the sunrise in our morning safari, where the mighty lion again made an appearance. This is the moment that Jimmy starts to question his life's choices and the safety of an open-air Jeep. And then it was time for breakfast in the bush, a full breakfast spread set amidst the low grasses. Because, tall grasses could hide hungry animals who haven't eaten their meal of the day yet. Just waiting for Jimmy to find a way to get off the vehicle. We appreciated the heft of the Land Rover as we navigated tricky river crossings and other varied terrain. And then we saw our first elephant. And there would be more. Our guide took us in search of more elephants. And even a brief pit stop to photograph cheetahs. Elephant sighting. We got a hot tip over the radio and we were off to the races. I should mention that the ride is bumpier than it looks. Hold on tight, we're almost there. And then we were there, and it was even more spectacular than I could have ever imagined. Look at all the elephants. There are no words to describe what it felt like to drive through this patch of earth. I was torn between recording and just dropping everything to take it all in with my heart. There was a blanket of peace that descended that simply made you want to cry. Watching several generations of elephants roaming together and how they played and cared for one another was a lesson in humility and love. Oh, there's another one behind us. When you first watched them, they seemed to blend together, but soon you could see the different personalities emerge. There were definitely some feisty ones among the herd. And then it was time to hit the road again, with a brief line sighting right at the side of the road. Another breakfast in the bush. And a warthog sighting before calling it a day. The next day, rinse and repeat, except this time we managed to sneak in a few extra hours of sleep. We arrived at a scenic river crossing to watch for hippos. I was reminded of the childhood game Hungry, Hungry Hippos, and our guide reminded us that hippos were actually not very nice, more like cranky, cranky hippos. And then we came to a dramatic river crossing lined with zebras. I'd never seen so many zebras together waiting to cross. Why were they hesitating? Lurking in the water, there were crocodiles ready to attack. On land, there were a pair of lions ready to pounce. It was a sobering scene, and I didn't need to wait to watch the ending. As we navigated some river crossings on our way back to camp, I couldn't help but think about how lucky we were to not have to worry about risking our lives just to cross the water. unlike zebras and other prey animals, and how often we take that privilege and our place in the world for granted.
Well, nature is something incredible. If you love nature, nature will love you. I started loving nature when I was a little boy. I could go out in the bush, listen to beautiful music of the birds, animals, and I've been doing that for last 30 years. Yeah, and if you love nature, nature will make you very, very happy more than anything else. I think every creature has a purpose on this planet. Every creature has a purpose on this planet because we depend. Every living things then depend on each other. We depend on animals. Animals depend on us.
What is your purpose?
My purpose, since I told you I love nature, I will continue with loving nature and doing what I'm doing now.
If you could be one animal, any animal, which animal would you like to be?
Well, I prefer being an elephant.
Elephant.
Yeah, it's quite a big animal. Elephant, they can control their stress. They can control their stress. And elephants, very intelligent creatures.
Is there an animal that you would not want to be, that you feel like, wow, they have the hardest life out there?
Wow. Some animals like Pumbaa, like warthogs, they have a very, very structured life because anyone can hunt them. And those guys, they have a very short memory. So most of the times you see them being hunted by maybe a lion and they just run fast. All of a sudden they just forget, why am I running? They just stop. So I would not like to be a warthog.
On one of our last mornings of the safari, we drove into the sunrise with a rainbow by our side. During all our drives, I was struck by the sense of community among the guides. Wherever we went, guides would share locations about animal sightings and things to be aware of over the radio and in person over the rails of the vehicle as we passed each other along the road. With this precious information, we soon found ourselves amidst another pack of beautiful elephants. But there was more to see in the savannah, and the day was still young. Mid-afternoon, we headed back to camp to freshen up a bit and catch up on a little sleep. There are definitely worse places to take an afternoon nap. This was glamping at its finest. After a quick shower, we took the opportunity to tour the grounds and meet the resident gardener, one of the key people charged with growing much of the fresh produce for our meals. He walked us through the raised garden bed complex he helped build by hand, and we marveled at all the different types of fruits and vegetables that could be grown in that climate.
The happiness means to me when I have peace of mind. That is the most time that I'm very happy. When I don't have anything that is disturbing me, when I'm working well, that is when I'm very happy. In everything that I plan to do, when I see I have succeeded, that is the time I have peace. Yeah.
So whenever your plants grow, you feel happy?
Yes, I feel happy. And sometimes when I fail to succeed in the plans, I also I feel happy because I understand there must be challenges also, and I will not lose hope saying that I will not make it again. I will just continue from where I left, and then I will go on. So even when I fail, I'll try again until I will see that I have succeeded. Yeah, I'll not lose hope. When I feel sad, everything will fail, because you will not manage to do anything that you wanted it to do. So you have to be happy so that you will prosper to other stage. My plans grows better because I'm normally happy. Everything is possible. And everything is possible even without looking at your age. Age doesn't matter. It is the anxiety. If you are willing to do something, you will normally succeed. You will automatically succeed because you are willing. If you love it, you will succeed. Nature has taught me a lot. Sometimes you wake up very early in the morning, you'll meet with somebody, maybe you are expecting to get somebody who will help you in your job. You will not get. You have to continue to do it because you will not wait for someone else. You wake up very early in the morning expecting to see maybe your work has gone well. Maybe that day, for example, in the garden, you might lack even rain for 3 months. So you have to water, you have to weed. So all that work you have to do everything. So nature has taught us many because we are not getting everything well as we want. But nature itself, because we have different types of weather. Today it's sunny, yesterday it was raining. So we have to cope with all of them. Yeah.
So you have to work with nature. You can't just expect nature to give you everything.
No, we don't. We don't expect nature to give us everything. We have to work with nature. God has put us on this earth with a purpose. Everybody has a purpose. So we have been put on this earth with a purpose because God has a purpose with everybody. I have a purpose. You have a purpose. So everybody has a purpose. We are made in a purpose.
On the last full day of our safari, we drove out on the savannah under the pillows of clouds. The scenery still took our breath away, just as it did on the first day. Not too long into the drive, we came across a family of baboons along the side of the road. We gasped when we saw the babies being carried on the backs of their mothers. They were so tiny. Also, on that last day, we came across a scene that was difficult to witness: a pack of lions tracking and then pouncing on a stray warthog. What you're seeing now is the aftermath, when the male lion comes in to inspect the prize after the lioness has completed the kill. As the lion shoos away the hungry cubs, the lioness runs off to gather the rest of the pack to come eat. It is a scene that juxtaposes the violence of nature alongside the playful care and affection of the family of animals, the circle of life.
Happiness is everywhere. What you're doing, what you're saying, what you like is what creates happiness. How you treat other people and how you like other people to treat you, that's what brings happiness. Be present, be available, and learn from other people. Enjoy life and to change it to a better place. Yes, whatever we can do to make it a better place, it's upon us. We can make it better, we can make it miserable. So it's all within us to make it and to change it into a better place.
Hakuna Matata. Hakuna Matata.
Happiness is good health. Happiness is being contented with what you have, appreciating the little things. Do what you love. I know in life we have those moments that you feel like you're not moving or you're not going anywhere or everything is against you. But I'd like to advise, take some time and relax, be the best we can for ourselves and learn each day.
In a blink of an eye, it was time to leave, from the same airstrip we had just arrived on just days ago. They say you can't come to Africa and leave unchanged, and I would agree. It exceeded my expectations in every way: the startling beauty of the wilderness, the grace of its people, and the wisdom of nature. There is a rawness to how this wisdom is served that leaves an indelible imprint on the heart and mind. I came in search of elephants and left with a gratefulness for the tremendous privilege we have to be on this earth and to choose to be neither predator nor prey, but rather a part of the circle of life that revels in its beauty. Thank you for coming on this journey with us. Until next time.